Welcome to Safety and Health Signals Training. At the end of this training, participants will have knowledge about safety and health signs. By the end of this training, participants will be able to acknowledge what are safety and health signs, types of safety and health signs, types of signs, minimum requirements for signage, color meanings of signboards. Safety and health sign means that a sign that indicates a specific purpose, activity, or condition, plate, color, audible and visual signal, verbal communication, or hand signals that provide information about occupational health and safety, warn of hazards, or provide instructions. According to Article 10 of the Occupational Health and Safety Law, after implementing the necessary measures based on the results of the risk assessment, the use of health and safety signs is required to enhance health and safety. Since signs are visual, they are more memorable for employees. Based on the results of the risk assessment conducted at the workplace, if risks cannot be eliminated or sufficiently reduced through technical measures for collective protection or through precautions, methods, or processes used in the organization of work, health and safety signs must be provided and used in appropriate locations. Here are the meaning of safety and health signs. Prohibitory sign. A sign that prohibits behavior that could cause danger or expose someone to danger. Warning sign. A sign that alerts to a situation that could cause danger or harm. Mandatory sign. A sign that indicates a behavior that must be followed. Emergency exit and first aid signs. Signs that provide information about emergency exit routes, first aid, or rescue. Signboard. A sign made up of geometric shapes, images, symbols, pictograms, and colors designed to convey specific information and made visible with adequate lighting when necessary. Additional information sign. A sign used in conjunction with a signboard to provide additional information. Safety color. A color assigned a specific safety meaning. Symbol or pictogram. A shape used on a sign or illuminated surface to identify a specific condition or behavior. Illuminated sign. A sign device made of transparent or translucent material that is illuminated from within or from behind to produce a luminous surface. Audible signal. A coded sound produced and transmitted by a specially designed device without the use of human or artificial human voice, conveying a specific meaning. Verbal communication. A verbal message transmitted using human voice or artificial human voice with a predefined meaning. Hand signal. Predefined movements and positions of the hands and / or arms used to direct an operator performing maneuvers that may be hazardous to workers. Operator. A person who uses tools and equipment by following signals. Signal giver. The person who gives the signal. There are two types of signs. First, permanent and fixed signs. Second, temporary signs. Fixed and permanent signage. Prohibitions, warnings, and mandatory actions, emergency exit routes, first aid areas, and firefighting equipment. Locations of firefighting equipment, signage, and permanently marked in red. Areas where there is a risk of collision with obstacles or falling, signage and safety color permanently marked. Traffic lanes must be permanently marked with the safety color. Permanently marked. As temporary signs, where necessary, signals may be used together or interchangeably, taking into account the possibility of their combined use to give a danger signal. To ensure that people perform certain actions and evacuate quickly, light signals, audible signals, and / or verbal communication must be used. In necessary situations, to direct individuals who may cause danger or perform dangerous maneuvers, hand signals and / or verbal communication should be used to direct individuals who may cause danger or perform dangerous maneuvers. To ensure that the function of the safety sign is not adversely affected by the following. The presence of another emission source of the same type that would make it difficult to see or hear the safety sign must be prevented. Multiple signs should not be placed too close to each other. Two illuminated signs that could be confused should not be used simultaneously. A lighted sign should not be used in close proximity to another lighted sign. Multiple audible signals should not be used simultaneously. Audible signals should not be used in areas with excessive ambient noise. Signs and signal devices should be cleaned at regular intervals, inspected, maintained, and repaired as necessary to preserve their characteristic features and functional qualities. The function of safety signs must not be adversely affected by the following. The number and location of signs and signal devices must be determined based on the severity of the hazard and the area where they will be applied. Signals powered by any form of energy must be equipped with a backup power source to ensure they continue to function immediately in the event of a power outage or if the hazard cannot be prevented by other means. The activation of light signals and slash or audible signals indicates that the work or movement is about to begin. Lighted signs or audible signals must continue to operate throughout the duration of the work or movement. Lighted signs and audible signals must be able to resume operation immediately after being turned off. Lighted signs and audible signals must be inspected at sufficient intervals before use and during use to ensure their proper and effective operation. If there are any factors, including those related to the use of personal protective equipment, that may obstruct workers' vision or hearing, necessary measures must be taken to reinforce or modify the relevant signs. Minimum requirements for signs. Basic qualities. Pictograms shall be as simple as possible and contain only essential details. Signage shall be made of materials suitable for the environment in which they are used and shall be impact-resistant and weatherproof. Signage. Placed immediately near areas with special hazards and dangerous objects. At the entrance to areas with general hazards, taking into account any obstacles, at a height and position suitable for eye level, well lit, easily accessible, and clearly visible. Fluorescent colors, reflective materials, or artificial lighting should be used in areas with insufficient natural light. When the condition indicated by the sign no longer exists, the sign must be removed. Prohibitory signs. Circular in shape, white background with a black pictogram, red frame, and diagonal line. The red portions must cover at least 35% of the sign area. Warning signs. Triangular. Black pictogram on a yellow background with a black border. The yellow portions must cover at least 50% of the sign area. Imperative signs. Circular in shape. White pictogram on a blue background. The blue sections must cover at least 50% of the sign area. Emergency exit and first aid signs. Rectangular or square in shape. White pictogram on a green background. Green areas must cover at least 50% of the sign area. Firefighting signs. Rectangular or square in shape. White pictogram on a red background. Red sections must cover at least 50% of the sign area. Minimum requirements for signs on pipes and containers, and minimum requirements for markings. Containers that hold or store hazardous substances or preparations, as well as visible pipes containing or transporting such substances must be marked with a label bearing a pictogram or symbol on a colored background. The markings must be non-removable, self-adhesive, or painted and placed on visible surfaces. Signs used on pipes must be placed in a visible manner and at appropriate intervals near hazardous points such as valves and connection points. Areas, rooms, or enclosed spaces where significant quantities of hazardous substances or preparations are stored must be marked with warning signs. In areas where different hazardous substances or preparations are stored, warning signs indicating the general hazard may be used. These signs or labels must be placed near the storage area or on the entrance door of the room used for storage. Firefighting. Minimum requirements for signs. Firefighting equipment must be marked with a special color and a sign indicating its location. and slash or a special color must be used for the location or access points of such equipment. The color red should be used to identify such equipment. The red area must be sufficiently large to ensure that the equipment is easily recognizable. Firefighting signboards should be used to indicate the location of such equipment. Minimum requirements for signs used to identify obstacles, dangerous areas, and traffic routes. Areas where there is a risk of collision with obstacles, falling, or objects falling should be marked with alternating yellow and black or red and white stripes in areas where workers move around during operations within industrial facilities. The size of the signs must be proportional to the size of the obstacle or hazardous area. Signs used at obstacles and hazardous locations. Yellow, black, or red, white stripes should be painted at approximately a 45-degree angle and of the same size. The incident site is restricted and protected by signs used in hazardous areas and dangerous locations. After the operation is completed, the signs are removed. Signaling of traffic roads. If the manner of use of workplaces and equipment requires the protection of workers, roads open to vehicle traffic must be clearly marked with continuous yellow or white stripes, taking into account the color of the ground. The lanes must be marked in such a way as to indicate a safe distance between vehicles and objects that may be near vehicles, as well as between vehicles and pedestrians. Roads and open areas of facilities with continuous traffic must be marked in the manner described above to the extent feasible if appropriate barriers and sidewalks are not available. Minimum requirements for lighted signs. Lighted signs must be clearly visible and distinguishable, not be dazzling due to excessive light or have reduced visibility due to insufficient light. The light-emitting area of illuminated signs must be a single color or consist of a pictogram on a specific background. The single color used must comply with the color chart. Minimum rules for lighted signs. If a device sends both continuous and intermittent signals, the intermittent signal indicates a more dangerous situation than the continuous signal, an intervention or action that needs to be performed more urgently. The duration of the light being on and off shall be as follows. Ensure that the message is fully understood and not be confused with other light signals or continuously lit light signals. If a flashing light signal is used instead of or in conjunction with an audible signal, the same coding must be used. Flashing light signals indicating a serious danger must be specially monitored and a spare lamp must be provided. Minimum requirements for audible signals. General provisions. Audible signals. Be significantly higher than ambient noise, but not excessively loud or harmful. Be easily recognizable based on their technical characteristics, and clearly distinguishable from other audible signals and ambient sounds. If a device emits an audible signal at a fixed and variable frequency, the variable frequency signal emitted by the device indicates a more dangerous situation or a more urgent intervention or action required compared to the fixed frequency signal. Minimum rules for verbal communication. General provisions. In verbal communication between one or more persons, short texts, sentences, words, or word groups in a specific form or encoded format should be used. Verbal messages should be as short, simple, and clear as possible. The speaker's ability to speak and the listener's ability to hear must be suitable for reliable verbal communication. Verbal communication shall be through the direct human voice, the human voice transmitted by an appropriate medium, or an artificial human voice. Hand signals must be clear, simple, easy to perform and understand, and distinct from similar signs. If both arms are used at the same time, they should be moved symmetrically and only one signal should be given at a time. Special usage rules. Signaler, the person who gives signals using hand and arm movements. Operator, the person who moves according to the signaler's instructions. The signaler must use hand and arm movements to give maneuver instructions to the operator. The signaler must be able to visually monitor all maneuvers from their position without putting themselves in danger. The primary responsibility of the signaler is to direct maneuvers and ensure the safety of workers in the maneuver area. If the signaler cannot see all maneuvers, one or more additional signalers must be deployed. If the operator cannot carry out the orders received safely, they must stop the maneuver they are performing and request new instructions.